Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum D&D Podcast. My name is Trey.
This is Ryan. Thank you for listening. Also, future me, as you're listening back to this, don't worry, not everybody thinks you sound like a dork as much as you do. So, I would like to clear up a couple of things after last week's podcast, which was really fun. Thank you, by the way.
Oh, it was a blast.
Yeah. The one at... I'm not quite that old, so I'm going to move the start, probably 1984 or 1982 is where the story should have started out. One, and I don't know if we reiterated this, and this is for DMs and players when you were talking about stealing. And I just want to reiterate, steal everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Take everything off the shelves. Wait, what?
Whatever stores you can, mix and match. Make them your own. Nobody's done anything new forever. We just package it through your own self.
I like to think D&D is constant iteration. You take an idea that somebody else has and you iterate on it in a different way, and so it will be different anyway.
Well, you play guitar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I play guitar a little bit too on that. We're not going to do anything new.
Right.
But thank goodness there's so many great musicians before.
That's right.
That, we can steal from enough of them.
Yeah.
And every once in a while we'll sound pretty good. I want to run over again, maybe you can help me with this, for the free. Because we're talking about actually spending a little bit of money today. And no telling what else. Yeah.
For anybody who missed last week, we talked about playing D&D without spending any money and the options that you had. And we missed a couple things.
We did. But, it's kind of shoot from the hip. So one, D&D Beyond, on your free account, you should be able to have up to 6 characters.
Yeah.
And also, you can keep your character sheet on there. You don't have to use paper. And it also gives you the dice to roll. If you do like the character sheets on paper, you can actually print it off from there.
Yeah.
Filled out. Wizard of the Coast has their official site, which we did mention. They've got lots of pre-made characters on there, different kinds of blank character sheets. Also, of interest, if you've got an idea of your character you're going to play or how you're going to do it, you can check out Pinterest. There's customized character sheets. People, I think if you'll find out, the more you reach out, the more you look at it. D&D is a really cool community.
Oh yeah.
With lots of people, talented in very different areas.
Well, rolling characters is fun for me. It's not fun for everybody, but it's fun for me. And so there's a really cool aspect of, hey, you need help rolling a character? No problem. Let me help you out. I love doing this, so let's go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not playing D&D with those type of people, try to find some other people to play D&D with.
Absolutely.
You had brought up Roll20.
Yeah. So Roll20, we talked about some of the free stuff that it had last week, but one big thing that we missed is Roll20 has the entire rules for combat, breaking down how movement works, what you can do while moving, for free. You don't have to pay anything to get that whole breakdown.
That would be a sign up though, right?
Yeah, you still need to sign up with an account, and then you access their website, and they have the entirety of how to do that. Not all of it is free, but the combat stuff is free.
Yes, that's what we kind of pointed out. Once you have the character creation and combat rules, you're really kind of set to go.
Yeah, you can just kind of play.
Yeah, your world can go anywhere from that point. But Roll20 has a really nice breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
And also some good examples of what your turn might look like. That's something else. If you do get the player's handbook, we may bring it up. They'll have little sections of examples of combat. Read over those.
Absolutely. Those. Well, and another good thing on that, Roll20's in their breakdown, they mention flying combat, which is something PCs, for the most part, playable characters, will never wind up doing. Yeah. But if you do, here's a little blurb about how to do it.
Right. And and if you do run that into a game, just a quick piece of advice as we're moving through this, if you do run into a game where you're not 100% sure on how to roll on it, make a ruling.
Yes. Make a choice right then. And
if your difficulty is going one way or the other, give it to the player. Make it a little bit easier on the player.
Right.
Especially if it's something really cool. You just don't know how to roll it out.
Right. Then after the session, you look it up.
Yeah.
And then next session, before you even start the session, you go, hey, I looked that up. We're going to do it this way from now on.
Right. One thing I'd actually like you to touch on a little bit because I'm not sure. Second edition was a lot. We didn't have like the difficulty number.
Right.
And that's something that's a little bit different. I don't know if 3 or 4 have that.
So 3.5 already had challenge rating.
Okay.
And it just kind of carried challenge rating through. Although challenge rating was very different in 4th edition than 3.5 than it is now.
Monster Manual?
Yeah.
I was talking about the difficulty. Like if it because we have the combat rules,
right,
which are great.
Yeah.
And you have your character creations, that, but then you've got those little things like climbing a rope.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
so
okay.
Yeah, because they're going to roll 20, and you try to give them the number on that.
Yeah. How do you determine that number?
Yes.
Right, yeah. I believe the 3.5 DMG, that was the first time I'd ever DM'd. I didn't talk about that last week when I started DMing. Well, that was in 3.5.
Yeah.
And 3.5, the DMG had a, how hard do you think this check is? Just based on what's going on, and here's the number that would, so basically like if you think on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 7 in difficulty, then your roll, your DC should be 16 or higher, which even then I think that's a little high for a 7. Right. I think like a 9 maybe should be like 16, unless you're trying to do something really crazy. But I feel like even back in 3.5, I'm looking at your DMG for some reason while I'm talking about this. I think even back in 3.5, it was more of, I just figure it out kind of thing,
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is the one thing, and this is the one rule, I think, that if you can kind of grasp this and make it easy on yourself, you've completed the game. I think we've got that'd be a tool for everything.
Right.
Combat, and then, speeches, or if you're trying to persuade somebody to climb in rope. If you're starting out as a DM, don't overthink it.
Right.
If it's, I would say if it's something you're almost sure that unless the character messes up, they can do, just say 5.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to, with their 20, get over a 5. If it's a little bit challenging, then maybe 10. So it's going to be difficult, 15. Just put it on the 5.
Yeah, don't super inflate it either, because your players will notice if they're trying to open a door and the door's not trapped and the door's not locked, they shouldn't have to roll for it.
Yeah.
But if you go, well, that's going to be a check, and it's like, okay, then something's going on with this door.
Yes.
And they roll a 10, and you go, okay, yeah, you pass, you make it through the door. They're going to be suspicious of that door all night long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to make sure something's actually happening with that door.
Right.
Don't just do it to mess with them or something.
And honestly,
I've had DMs that did.
Well, you can. They want to check everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Honestly, and as a DM, it's your choice. And talk about this with your players. It's your choice. You can actually don't have to do that.
Yeah.
If your player comes up and says, "Okay, I want to check the room. I'm going to go look under the table and feel around and actually talk about this," and that might be enough. You say, don't even roll.
You have all the time you need. You're going to get it done.
Yeah. So it's one little aspect of the game that we're bringing up, but.
Or you just made me think about it. As a DM, we'll get into talking about DMs like fully in a little bit, but as a DM, maybe you didn't have anything in this room.
Oh,
but when your player says, I want to check under the tables, you go, oh, heck yeah, I'm going to put something under that table now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes, we'll talk about DM episode, and another short one right there is, you don't have to have everything written out exactly.
Right.
And being flexible helps a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that covers everything.
Yeah, I think that's all the corrections.
Last week that we missed, or anything. So we're going to try to talk about paying. We're going to put a little bit of money into it, right? Yeah,
you picked up your D&D. Like it's just a thing you can pick up.
Yeah, right?
Your friend has told you they want to play D&D with you. You're excited for it. They're going to DM. You're just going to be a player. What do you need? If you want to put some money in it, you want to get to the table, you want to have some stuff ready. What do you need to get with, say, like $50?
$50. All right, we're going to try to maximize this $50.
Mm-hmm. Because last week we talked about free.
Right. So $50. Well, you can get a hardbound player's handbook for that.
It's pretty much all you're going to get.
Yeah. And look, that's not. It's nice to have that in your hand.
Yeah.
Especially if you have your own player's handbook, you make little notes and marks and highlights in it for everything else, and you don't need anything else ever to play D&D.
Right.
I don't care what anybody tells you, that if you actually have that. Now, I think the digital copy is a little bit cheaper on D&D
it's
Beyond.
$10 cheaper.
$10 cheaper.
I think we should talk about that real quick, too, the difference between physical and digital, because D&D Beyond is like the big thing right now. It's the easiest way to get the books. If you buy a physical book, you cannot then add it to D&D Beyond.
No.
It's separate.
Yes. Yeah, and actually there was a stink about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of settled down now. People didn't understand. They thought D&D Beyond was affiliated with Wizards of the Coast.
Instead of just being a thing people made because they wanted to.
Exactly. And, they were selling it independently, so, they didn't have a license to do it. They weren't licensed to do that. License is a retailer.
Right. So I would say right now at the beginning, if you're just wanting to get into it now, you should probably make a choice. Do I want physical books or do I want to save some money?
Yeah.
Because if you choose 10 months from now when you've already bought some of either, those don't transfer over. You can use both in tandem because I have done that.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's probably easier to go, what do I want now? Because if you want hardback, if you want physical, you're going to be spending a little bit more for it, but you're going to have something in hand because of it.
True.
If you go just digital, you're going to save money. Just hands down, you're going to save money.
And there's a little loophole that you can do with your group, especially if you have a Forever DM.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Forever DM, now that would require a subscription.
Yeah.
But only he or she would have to get the material. And we may go into a little bit more of that, but even on D&D Beyond, if you go out flat and buy the PHB, the Player's Handbook, flat out, I think it's $30.
Yep.
I'll do that. So
$29.99.
Okay, so it's about a budget of out of budget $50, $30. That would leave with $20.
Yep.
Now
and that honestly, you need that PHB.
Yeah.
You're just starting. There are other books you could buy instead. The PHB is going to give you all your basics. It's going to give you the basic rules. It's going to give you the basic classes. It's going to give you the basic races. You get all of it in this nice package that also has the basic feats. It has the basic magic items. It has all of the equipment.
Yeah.
It is the book and spells. It is the book to get.
Which I have some feelings on.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. But for a new player, you need that PHB.
Yeah.
But like you said, they got $20 left to spend.
Yeah. So on player side, you've got some stuff. On D&D Beyond, you can buy parts of books, and they'll discount it off. They'll take it off of if you ever want to buy the whole book.
Right.
So you got a little bit of playing around you could do.
Yeah, it kind of comes to what do you want. And I guess one thing we should say here is before you go buy a bunch of books, you should talk to your DM and see what they're going to allow.
Yeah, and double check our DM advice too here in a little bit because we're probably not going to start with anything outside as a DM, telling them what races and stuff to think about. So yeah.
We should also say too, this is the prices that we're using for the 50 are USD. It's possible in your region some of these books might be a little bit more expensive, less expensive, but this gives you an idea of the more important things to pick up.
Right.
What is your recommendation, Ryan, for you got $20 left to fiddle around with? What do you think people should go for? Should they go for races? Should they go for subclasses? Should they go for spells or feats? I definitely don't think a player should go for monsters.
No, I think I almost like the feats would be good. Now, be careful with feats. If you get feats out of what is it? Eberron? What's the Dragon Mark stuff? Your DM's not going to let no. Anyway, but there are some cool. That's a good idea. Feats. Go through that subclasses.
I definitely recommend Xanathar's subclasses. Arcane Archer alone, in my opinion, is worth it.
It is.
Arcane Archer is such a fun subclass.
That is a cool class.
Divine Soul is a really cool subclass.
I think I'd actually like to put some. I think now you've convinced me. I think I gotta go with subclasses.
Yeah,
I try to go because you can expand off your.
Well, and you get Path of the Storm Herald for Barbarian, which it's not the best Barbarian subclass.
No, it's just cool.
But it's so cool.
Yeah, it's just cool.
A Barbarian that can shoot lightning.
Yeah.
You get your Grave Domain Cleric, which is a great cleric. Grave Domain so strong.
You get Aang, right? The Elemental Monk.
Yeah, Way of the Kinsei.
Yeah.
And you get Way of the Drunken Master.
Slinger.
It might be. I might be thinking of the other one. Because Way of the Drunken Master and Way of the Kinsei are the two monk subclasses in Xanathars.
Oh, right on. But see, I would still say, because if you're a DM, start out with 4 regular races.
Yeah.
At first.
Yeah.
And we'll do that. But if you have the subclasses, you got some, there's a lot of extra cool things you can do.
I don't know how you feel about bards, but College of Whispers is in Xanathars, and that's a really fun bard that I've run before.
We're going to have a whole episode on clarifying my position on bards.
But if they got the subclasses from Xanathars, they'd still have $10 to play around with.
Okay. Dang, really?
Yeah, because it's just $10 for all those subclasses.
Okay, so do that.
I would think maybe go, if you're not going to get any races, maybe go Sword Coast and get the subclasses of Sword Coast. Those get a little OP.
Yeah.
But for $8, you get Purple Dragon Knight. You get Way of the Sun Soul.
Yeah.
You get Blade Singing for Warlock.
Is that who has the Planar Ranger?
Oh, that's not Gloomstrider. Is that what that's called? Because that's Xanathars.
That is Xanathars. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they've already got that one.
Yeah. You also get Oath of the Crown for Paladin with Storm Coast, which is a really cool Paladin subclass.
So Volos races. How much for the
$10 for the Volos races, and those are really good.
That's an expansion right there.
Yeah, let me pull those up and I'll read those off here. I have all of these for anybody who's listening. I have all of them pulled up on my phone so that we can just quickly switch between them. The races in Volos that are also $10 are Aasimar, Bugbear, Furbolg, Goblin, Hobgoblin, Kinku, Kobold, Lizardfolk, Orc, Tabaxi, Triton, and Yuan-Ti Pureblood, which are all really fun races to play around with, really. Triton, I think, is probably the one people know the least out of those, gameplay-wise, but Tritons are really fun to play.
So I got it with 2nd edition, ran what was the elf called? The Sea Elf. Actually, it was a solo campaign I ran. It was a blast.
Yeah.
Wrought of 7 parts.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. That was the Mr. Dart throw, run, spin in the air, and throw it in bullseye. He DM'd it for me.
Man, I really want to talk about playing monster races at some point because I love playing bugbears and I never get to do it. Bugbears are so fun to play.
Yeah. Well,
they're so stupid. I love them so much.
Okay. I gotta clarify something.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, the furball has become a thing. That's not supposed to be a little creature.
No.
It doesn't look right.
Right.
In the on the picture.
Yeah.
That's actually a different creature than the Fey Touch furball. Yes.
And I think Critical Role is doing a lot of good work in fixing that.
Okay.
But I think they're the only ones that have been trying. Without spoiling anything, there is a Furbolg in Critical Role that they make multiple references to the fact that he's almost 9 foot tall.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Because I remember the Monster Manual, the 2nd edition, that, that thing's terrifying.
Man, we can have a whole discussion about the misconceptions about races.
Okay, have we spent our $50?
Yes. If we have got subclasses from Xanathars and then either races from Volos, so we have some more options, or subclasses from Sword Coast, then we have spent our $50 to get in as a player.
That is a lot.
Yeah, that's over 15 races to choose from.
Yeah, I think, and
each one has at least 4 subclasses.
As exciting as
that's a lot of choices.
That is a lot of choices. Honestly, like I said, that's expand the choices up as you go through adventure.
Oh, we gotta talk about what classes people should choose to start with, since we're talking about beginning D&D.
We talked about a little bit last week. We talked about, I mentioned fighter.
I guess we did. Yeah. Fighter rogue.
Fighter monk.
Yeah,
which would be interesting. I'll do that.
Do you think, while we're talking about this, since we didn't recommend buying spells, do you think that the spellcasters can run from base without buying any more spells?
Just the ones in the PHB?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Goodness. Look, magic. Magic can change your battlefield, and it can do so drastically. And we play on Sunday. We play a fun story. It's story driven. I mean, there's choices of most of the time. We can go this way or that way, depending on.
I wanted us to get captured by the ice elves,
but seriously, I mean the week before, and this happens in D&D, and it's not a bad thing. The week before ended in failure. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. I think the story's better because it can.
Exactly. I mean, there's some kind of weight there. Yeah. To it when there's something could be lost.
I almost died. I didn't actually take any damage, but I almost died. Yeah.
There's been a few occasions where somebody's hit the ground on it, and it took somebody out of combat, I believe, each time to take care of that. So there's a turn lost. So there's definitely something there, but it ended in failure, and then the battle that it caused, the consequences of what just happened. Yes, the battle that it caused that could have been a party wide, could have been y'all getting captured. Oh yeah, which even getting captured because of the situation, one of those characters was going. Oh yeah, absolutely. But no, the first thing, what was that? That's a 4th level spell. The Earth.
Shape Earth.
Shape Stone.
Yeah, Shape Stone.
Whatever it is. Yeah, great.
Stone Shape.
Stone Shape. Sorry.
No, I'm right there with you. How did we say Shape Stone and not say Stone Shape? No. That literally changed the entire course of the battle. It did. And then the firewall.
And then the firewall.
Which are base spells.
Yeah. Straight out of the PHP, and it really did. It changed, and that was great.
I wanted to bring that up because I feel like there's a fear of once you start breaking down the books of going, I need all of this to be able to play. Yeah. And it's not that way at all. No. It's not, and I wouldn't even say it's like Wizards or D&D Beyond's fault because they're just adding more things, right? Even though I have my gripes with it. Yeah. But because of the way that people look at things, we look at that and go, well, if I don't have all this, then I'm missing stuff that I need.
It's the shiny new stuff. And, and I understand that. Yeah. And especially if you just start with 5th edition, I think that's going to be a real big thing because you can just see it and get it, and it's really easy. It's kind of really accessible, really easy to get right now. So, we had real strict in session 0 for our Sunday, the campaign that was on Sunday. We had actually really strict, for the amount of material we have. Yeah. We had really, really strict character creation rules. Yeah. I think I've got all the races on D&D Beyond, and y'all have a choice of 4. Yeah. And then even the the regular classes were cut down because no warlocks or sorcerers.
Right. Low magic world.
Yeah, low magic world.
It wasn't Ryan just saying, hey, you can't play these. Right. It was, there's a reason for it.
Yeah. They don't want them to play it, so they're playing in low magic world. But that was really limited. And I think I enjoyed the story.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
And going good. I don't think at the end of the day, I think y'all could have picked any race, any kind of subclass or anything.
But I could have been a Leonin.
Yeah. Something crazy like that, a changeling or a genasi or something. And but it's a table and it works. So that's probably cycle back in. Back a little bit. Just keep it simple. Don't chase down everything.
Yeah, you don't have to have your campaign open to everything all at the same time. Right. You don't have to start going, okay, I need to learn all of these races to be able to tell a story in this world. And especially if you're running a pre-made adventure, which when we get into like what the DM should get, a pre-made is a good idea for your first campaign. Yeah. You don't have to try and add it all in there. And I guess we talked a little bit last week about like not everybody's going to be Matt Mercer. Right. Your campaign doesn't have to be huge either. Your campaign can be small and slowly grow out, like we talked about.
Well, there was a couple of things we touched on and get into it. I think it'd be kind of relevant to bring back up is what we're talking about. Is saying this is one's free. Yeah, you can get this, and then you can spend money and get some other cool stuff. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that your first game is limited in any
Right.
way. You
Absolutely.
still have all the imagination in the world.
Absolutely. And that's what's so cool about D&D is that you can have all the cool toys in the toy box you want, but what you personally bring to the table is the most important part of it.
Yes.
It's not any of the stuff that you buy. It's your personality, your identity.
Yeah. And the table can kind of sit back and agree. Well, session 0, after we talk about whether you're starting, we'll talk about maybe we may be able to do that next week.
Yeah.
If as we go through this, I want to back up though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for the player side. Just to reiterate, $50 on D&D Beyond.
Yep. PHB,
which we're not sponsored by anybody. I don't want to. This is We actually use it. We actually use this.
Yeah, it's a good service.
And honestly, I would put my money at other places. We bought the stuff that we didn't need at the time. So hopefully you can learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so back up. So one more time, run it down at $50 for
the PHB.
Yeah.
That's $30. And then we recommended getting the Volo's races.
Yes.
For an additional 10. That gives you an additional 12 races, which is really good. And then the Xanathar subclasses for an additional 10, which gives you an additional 15, 16 subclasses, I believe, which is nuts.
Yeah.
So again, with that, you can play so many characters with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're free basically at that point. Any class you want, any race you want of those.
And multi-classing.
Oh, yeah.
In 5e is
easiest thing in the world.
No, I'm going to be right road now.
Yeah.
Do your DM if you want to modify, just pick something that would make sense along in the story.
Yep.
It's just it'll help. It just makes it easier. So
yeah. And,
okay.
I'll hold myself back because I want to have a episode just about multi-classing and making it make sense at some point.
Okay.
Because I have very strong feelings about it.
So that was the players. We're back up. $50 for the DM.
Yeah.
It starts in the same place. $30 on the PHB.
Yeah.
Player's handbook.
I know your first instinct is going to be, well, I need the DMG, the Dungeon Master's Guide. Not really, honestly.
No. It's a good book. I'm not taking it away from it, but please remember it's a guide.
Yes.
I mentioned the difference between wisdom and law last week. It's a difference between rules and not opinions, but
rules as written and rules as
intended.
Yeah.
Not even that. I mean, it's just you get stuff on the DMG to help you out a little bit, but it's nothing that you can't work out on your own.
Absolutely.
If honestly, the DMG, if you can find a local bookstore and stand there for a minute and read that first section,
yeah, you're good.
You're probably pretty good at it. Yeah, you're probably set.
And then from there, I would probably get Lost Mines of Phandelver.
Yeah, you're going to go.
That gives you some more magic items that you have a few listed. Again, that's PHP true. Doesn't have a bunch listed, but it has them in the grid, and you can Google what they do.
Yes. Don John.
Yes, that's the way to go.
We need to go back to free for just a second.
Yeah. I can't believe we forgot to bring up Don John.
Don John is amazing. If you use that, please buy that man a cup of coffee.
Yes.
He's got a button for it.
Yes.
It's got...
It even lets you roll loot tables with it.
You can get... It is honestly the best free tool on the internet.
Yep.
And I'm sure he doesn't care about our podcast, but if he ever doesn't,
bring it up last week?
I apologize. I can't think of it.
It should have been the first thing we brought up.
It should have. Don John. It's not .com.
No,
maybe
it's
that's .org.
Yeah, I think so. Either that or .net.
Oh my gosh. It's Don John D&D. Actually, Don John D&D, and you're playing D&D for free.
Yeah.
Second edition, third edition, fifth edition.
Yeah, it's
not quite, but
right.
Pretty close. You'll be amazed at what's there.
It even has like I want to randomize an encounter.
Yes, randomize encounters. I tell you what. And this is if you don't. I understand why you mentioned getting the starter adventure, the Lost Mines of Phandelver. One, because the DM style might work well for BookQuest.
Yeah.
You know, there are people out there that just do those excellently.
Yeah.
And by the time, honestly, once you run that, take your basic classes and run that, and where you may have 5th level, 6th level, maybe.
Yeah, it ends at 5th by book, but if you don't run it straight book, you might have 6th level players at the end.
But yeah, I understand that. But with Don John, like a 5e dungeon creator, running to a diminutive dungeon, and it'll fill it, and then just it's small, 4 rooms, you know, and then you just run through. So Don John's got to go in there free, and like I said, sorry, we forgot about that.
Absolutely,
I'm almost embarrassed we did.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
okay.
I feel like we should specify too. The reason why I'm recommending Fendover is the start adventure. If you are brand new to DMing, you have never done it before, your reaction is, hey, your group of friends, your group of 3 to 9 friends all want to play D&D and none of them know how to DM. And so you go, well, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you're doing. You can buy
Never
this adventure.
Before.
Right. Didn't stop me either. You can buy this adventure and you can walk through it. It holds your hand in a lot of ways.
It does.
And it doesn't in some ways that I wish it did.
Yeah, exactly.
I will guarantee you this one thing. You will walk away from the Lost Mines of Fendover knowing what you're doing better.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Being very unsatisfied with some of the questions the book leaves you with.
True. And honestly, we'll get it at one time. Actually, that might be a good discussion. How do you... Let's balance Fendover. Let's balance that thing for
how do we rebalance it?
Player.
Yeah, absolutely.
For 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
9 players would be crazy.
It's not balanced, and that's one of the big things with it. But for a starting campaign, it's a great way to start.
You've got everything because you got to have your discussion, and it does have everything lined out. Through there.
It has NPCs for you to use, already named.
I kind of had this thing right. There's some places where it should hold your hand a little bit more.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're going to hear bring up second edition a lot. They had that problem with some of their adventures, and some of them were great. And that's the writer of the adventure, and
right?
Just a personal preferences.
Yeah,
because there was a few. I believe the Ruins of Mr. Nor, which one I mentioned, was just not quite a mega dungeon, but pretty close. It was
right.
Pretty big. It had like long sections to read to the players.
Mm-hmm.
But they were, it was like you read that section and then went.
Yeah.
And it kind of would give you, hey, at this point, you have them roll this.
Right.
And everything. And I thought, and of course, like when we talk about that, that's a lot more structured.
Right.
Edition, a lot more free. But that's a good adventure.
Let me ask you this, though, Ryan. Let's say the person who's DMing, they've never DM'd before, but they don't want to run a pre-made adventure. They want to make their own world.
Right.
They've watched just enough Critical Role. Or just enough XP to level 3, or Dungeon Dudes.
What's that, Joe Mockman? He runs the podcast. I can't remember the name of that podcast.
They've watched just enough of YouTube. Oh, yeah. They watched just enough of D&D YouTube or D&D podcast that they know I can make my own thing and I can do it how I want. I don't want to run a pre-made. What do you recommend instead that they buy? Because as the DM, they don't need all those races and... So, I mean, races are still helpful for making NPCs, but...
Okay, so we'll start with the PHP on the...
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Honestly, go to the physical DM screen.
Yep.
And I think... And it's not to hide your rolls or anything, because you can use your digital dice.
Right.
It's just for the information across there.
Yep.
Now, barring that, if we're sticking with digital...
I think you can get all those conditions through Roll20 as well.
Yeah. But see, we talk about balance, and there's a chart on there as a DM.
I agree.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where it is in the DM guide of the book or anything else. But it's a quick, well, crap. They didn't went somewhere, and now we got a fight on our hands. How bad do I want to,
Yeah.
What
do I need to balance this with?
Yeah. I don't know. Monsters are good.
Yeah. They can get all the monsters out of the monster manual for $20 if they don't want the book itself. On D&D Beyond, if they just want the monsters.
Okay.
For $20, they can get the entirety of the monster manual. That makes $50. But that doesn't allow them to go get the DM screen in there. Or they can go to Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes.
Yes.
And get all of those for $13.
That's not bad. Well, and there's... We've played this enough, we'll rag on the things we've done.
Right.
It may sound like ragging on stuff. I'm kind of leaning towards the monster manual there, I think. For 3 or 4 sections of it.
Yeah.
because there's stuff that's in there that doesn't need to be in there in the base ID, and I think they could have done. I think they made it better looking.
I don't think it does a good job of explaining the difference between devils and demons.
No, it doesn't. Everything seems rushed.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It seems like, I think the DMG, the PHB, and the Monster Manual came out at the start of 5th edition. The PHB has had one re-release where they went back over it with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
I have my original PHB, which is not the same as the PHB that you have. But the DMG and the Monster Manual have not had that re-release.
No.
And I think it shows. Those books definitely, like you said, they feel rushed. It feels like, hey, we got to get this out for 5th edition. And then once it was out, they went, oh, those books are doing fine. We'll make some new stuff.
That's a different discussion. But because I have a problem with that. And I think they've made some missteps along the way. But I don't run the company.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that re-release of the PHB was really good. It fixed a lot of the problems the PHB had.
Yeah.
As we've seen when I've tried to use mine to explain stuff.
I don't want 5.5. I don't want that yet. I really don't. And I hope we don't have a 5.5.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly. Just modify this one to make it what it needs to be.
And that's, optional rules, whatever.
Yeah.
It's different discussion. So, get back to this. So with that, okay, 30. So we spent 50. 20.
We got monsters. We got information.
Monsters, so I go with the monster manuals for the section on dragons.
Yep.
Devils and demons, even though it's got its weakness.
Right.
Giants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that. So you get 3 sections.
You get your big monsters, right? You get your, I almost said behemoth because Final Fantasy's on my mind. You get your beholder, right?
Oh, yeah, classic. You got some classic monsters. Yeah, for sure.
You get your illithids.
Yes. And then you got your good starter monsters. The chart at the some of the monsters in the, where is it? Is that in the DM's guide? The archetypes in the back. You got the Archmage and is that, what is that in?
I think that's in the DMG.
Hold on.
Yeah, you've got your DMG right there.
Let me look.
One thing I think the Monsters Manual brings to the table, and I don't know, honestly, this is one of those things where I don't know if the digital version where you buy the monsters separately has it or not, but the Monster Manual has the animals in the back.
That's true.
That are very helpful for if you're running a druid, if you're running a ranger.
Oh my gosh. I'm behind on my DM duties. I got to come up with a list for wild shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
druids, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. A quick aside. I feel like there's this thing that we do when we talk about classes that I have noticed where we'll just go, the class name, man. And I don't know what started it, but rogues, man. Or monks, man. But yeah.
Nobody goes, champion, man.
Right. Fighters, man. That never happens.
Okay. So back to PHP is the animals, right?
Okay, yeah.
Let me make sure I forgot this. Skeleton, riding horse, owl, giant eagle.
Yes.
So that comes from the PHP.
So you already got that.
Quite a bit, because I think you got some. Yeah, zombie. Oh, you can do a whole Walking Dead campaign.
Yeah, right. You're good. That's all you need, right?
We'll teach you how to build these guys out.
AMC is The Walking Dead.
Yeah, there you go. D&D is The Walking Dead.
Oh. Yeah, I think for 50 as a DM, you got that. You can get started from there. You have all the tools we talked about that were in the free episode, as well as the ones that we corrected here. You're pretty much good.
No, the archetypes are in the back of the monster manual.
Nice. Very good.
Excellent. And then you still got the small section, just miscellaneous creatures.
Okay, yeah.
So definitely.
PHP Monster Manual, you're good.
Yeah, you're set to DM.
And don't, again, even if you're putting some money in, first off, if you've never played before, don't put too much money in right at the start. You want to make sure you like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't discount those free options. Again, they're worth it.
Exactly, sir.
We still use them.
Even at twice the price.
Yes.
Still worth it.
We use them even though we have put far more than 50 in this hobby by now. And you made a comment, Ryan, in the pre-recording when we were discussing the topics for tonight. Mm-hmm. You made a comment that, it is a hobby. If you're going to put as little as $15 into the hobby a month, you actually still have a lot of options to do with that.
Well, let's see. So it's $50 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to say $30, $45 a quarter.
Yep.
Keep on building now.
That's a book every quarter at least.
Yes.
If you're buying them physical.
Yeah. And if you're buying them digitally,
it's a book every 2 months.
Yeah, and you can mix and match that where you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually have a lot of material from a lot of different places.
Yes.
So you don't have the whole thing. Okay. I will say, and I'll say, check used bookstores. Or,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't shop eBay much.
Right.
I go on there looking every once in a while. But I see pretty decent prices on there from time to time. The problem is the hardback's just so expensive.
They are.
It's great if everybody has their own player's handbook.
Yeah.
Just for reference stuff, but that's just if you got 4 players and a DM, that's what $250, right?
Yeah, right there.
Almost $250. And then I think just to make this complete, all right. So we gave the DM for $50, the player for $50. Also, look, here's a little cheat thing. Players don't have to spend anything on that.
Yeah.
The DM can spend the $50 on that.
Yep.
You take that $50, give it to your DM to pay for the subscription.
Yep.
And then any campaign you're on, he can share that, or she can share that, and you will have access to it.
Yep. If you come together as a group and use D&D Beyond, you can spend and get so much more than you would if you individually bought the PHBs.
And if you're not keeping D&D notes on D&D Beyond, then, hey, okay, this is the campaign I'm running. If somebody else wants to use it, well, okay, this is the campaign that they're running. Mm-hmm. And everything's there together so you can look. So it's just an amazing tool at the end.
Oh, yeah.
It had a rough start, not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still not happy with the app.
Yeah.
I think it's much better.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm still not very happy with the app, but it's so useful.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
There are more tools that I use. We talked about this last week. I DM over Discord.
Right.
Using Roll20, and you DM physically.
Yes.
There are more tools that I use that we'll get into. I want to do an episode on what it's like to DM over Discord, because you have DM'd over Discord as well.
Yeah. And it was from my end, it was okay to some. I prefer not to do it.
Right.
But the world is as the world is.
Yeah.
Maybe the only way we can do it at some point. But
those other tools that I use do cost money.
Yes.
So if you want to go in to Discord style doing it, your whole group wants to play online, know that you're going to probably be spending a little bit more. Yeah. Because that Roll20 is such a great tool. You can do so much with it. You have to have a Roll20 subscription as well.
Yeah.
As having your content sharing subscription with D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
And then I also use a map making software that I pay for every month.
and once again, when we talk about products, we're talking about stuff that we've got our hands on at some point in time.
Right.
And there's, look through, do your homework if you're going to spend that money on that, because there's a few options out there.
Absolutely. You don't have to use Roll20. You don't have to use D&D Beyond.
Yeah, right. But I
don't know why you wouldn't, but
right. Well, D&D Beyond's a little bit different. You got Roll20, and my name's blank. I know there's 2 others.
Yeah.
That I've looked into, and it's different depending on what you want to do with it.
Well, and don't discount your programs that weren't made for D&D. Before I started using the map making software that I use in Incarnate, I was using Microsoft Paint. It can't be
free, but it doesn't have a subscription. You can't get a free account with that.
I was using Microsoft Paint.
Right.
And just sharing my screen on Discord so they can see the map,
Yeah.
And then laying out the grid, and then there's all kinds of stuff you can use that isn't made for D&D, that all you got to do is repurpose it.
Absolutely. There's that one feller on the YouTubes, the DM guys, that he really, really hypes up Microsoft OneNote.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves it. He said once you got used to it, when you started using it for his campaign, that's what he does now.
Yeah.
Everything's there. Okay. I want to cap this off right here for the discussion of getting started before we get some other stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely no budget. I think the only thing that, money you got in GME or whatever.
Yeah. You're set.
You're set.
This is a hobby that you want to put money into, and you have as much money as possible.
I would have stuff I wouldn't even use. That's a lie.
Absolutely. every edition.
Yeah.
No, but if you want to focus like, hey, money's not a problem. I want to get into this hobby. I know I enjoy it. I want to get back into it. The Legendary Bundle on D&D Beyond. That's the first thing I would get.
Yeah.
Every book.
Yeah, you get everything. And also, as you're buying stuff, that price will come down. If you spend $1.99 to get a character to play for the next week, they're going to take that $1.99 off that book. They're also going to take that $1.99 off that Legendary Bundle.
Yeah. And so, like, I bought the Legendary Bundle, and I'm not made of money, but I didn't buy it day one.
Right.
I bought it after I had bought 9 other books, and it was much more reasonable.
Yes. And just like anything else, they run sales and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to be a smart shopper, there's coupon codes out there, sales that they have, and they don't, just because you bought it at sale, I don't believe they penalize you for that.
No, they don't.
Go ahead and knock that off as just so that's a good model for it. I think it was misunderstood at first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very misunderstood at first. And yes, you are buying, if you buy the hard copies and you buy them twice.
Yeah.
I think for the future, this day and age, more digital it is. It's just a good tool, especially if you're going to, like you say, the Roll20 and the
content share, everything you got.
Yeah,
you're good to go.
Yeah, excellent. On that, I'm trying to think if
miniatures is maybe the only other thing that I would bring up. Like if you're going to play face to face.
Yes, and anything can be a miniature.
You don't have to spend a bunch of money on miniatures right away.
You don't have to use them at all.
Yeah. A lot of people play Theater of the Mind.
Right. Now, it doesn't hurt when you get ready to have the battlefield to say, even if you take buttons and lay them out, okay, y'all are standing over here.
Right.
And the bad guys are over here, just in a general sense.
Yeah.
That's a visualization. Minis can be really cool. Minis can be really fun.
Minis can be really expensive.
Yes.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. But a lot of fun. We'll have to talk about it a little bit more.
I think that's a whole discussion right there.
That's an advanced Dungeons and Dragons discussion.
But honestly, like that pretty much covers the basic rundown of like, hey, I want to spend a little bit of money.
Yeah.
How do I get into D&D? Yeah. Because again, like we talked about last week, you can play for free.
Absolutely.
If you want to spend the money, the stuff's there to do it. I think, honestly, for me, owning the books is secondary to being able to read the books. And for me, I like reading that stuff. I like seeing, hey, here's this new race. It's, I don't need to physically have them all.
I will see. Okay. Well, you're sitting here in my room right now.
Yes.
I love books.
Yeah.
I love flipping pages.
Yeah.
I love going through it. Like I said, a lot of my D&D stuff is gifted, which is an absolute blessing. That's amazing. Right. But I still have everything I have in book. I think, except of course for 3.5 months remaining there. I have on D&D Beyond.
Yeah. It's just so much easier to use.
It really is.
And I won't lie, the discount that I get on new books because I bought the Legendary Edition, it means I'm never going to buy them physical because I get them cheaper.
Understandable.
I love turning the pages on a book.
There's a new adventure book out there. Not a new quest.
I don't buy the adventure books. I should probably preface that.
No, yeah. See, I don't either. That's how I'd buy the source book.
I buy every source book. Yeah, I don't buy the adventure books.
Yeah, so if you are listening to this and you really like
pre-mades
and the books and you're good at it, please just rip us a new one in the comments.
I want to know, and this is going to sound really conceited, I want to know what you like about them, Like, what is it about the pre-made that you find enjoyable? Because to me, I don't like them at all. It's too limiting to me.
Yeah. It's almost it's not the limiting factor to me. It's that there's such a history and a world there already.
Yeah.
If you open up and if you're playing the venture, the first one, they don't have to know this. I want to preface this. Yeah. But when you flip that open, you're going, okay, if you have everything open for Forgotten Realm, and you're starting out, you're going to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over 20 gods.
Yeah.
And just
and you're not going to find their names in the book.
No, you're not. I think you get one.
Yeah.
At the Shrine of Luck.
Yeah.
So it can be, is that to me. There's just too much. There's too much history all there, and I want to have like our own history,
right?
Just our own way of doing things.
Well, and like, don't get me wrong. When I started as a DM, I ran a pre-made. The first time that I DM'd, I ran a pre-made, and I used it, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. But I have DM'd for too many years now. I just was about to try and do the math. I've been DMing since 3.5. I've been DMing for a long time, and I don't want to run somebody else's world now. I want to run mine.
Now here's another flip side that may be because if you're getting into this world, you're going to hear lots of words and a lot of categories that are not in the book.
Yeah,
and I don't know. One of the words you'll hear is rules warrior.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now this is not necessarily a bad thing,
right?
It can get out of hand just like anything else.
Oh yeah,
and I'm wondering. I'm thinking maybe the book quests are for more of those guys that are really. Yeah,
rules is written, everything exactly the way it's said.
Rules is rules,
and
it's maybe it works better. Maybe that mindset might work better for the book quests. I don't know, but of course you probably got a lot better memory than me if your rules is rules. That reminds me. Why do they keep jacking with the jumping thing? I'm pretty sure it's different. All I can jump is my, There's no roll. I can't roll anything to get anything extra out of it.
Unless you use, it's not long stride, is it? The spell that lets you jump higher? That spell's worthless.
We're punching D&D. We're punching D&D.
We gotta have a whole discussion at some point on worthless spells.
But it's not even worth it. The whole jump mechanic in D&D 5e is not very well. Anyway.
And it's different than a long jump. It's... But like...
What's a long jump? You can only go... Is it your dexterity?
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, hope you're a rogue. Hope you're a monk.
Then I can jump... Anyway.
Like, I do want to preface, too, if you're using the pre-made campaign, like Fandover... You don't have to stick to the way it's written either. You can mess with that as much as you want.
Not at all.
The first time that I ran it was when 5e came out. I ran Fandover, and one of my players, I've told you the story before, I think I might have mentioned it last week too. One of my players said, okay, I want to mess with their supply lines.
Yes.
And the book has nothing about their supply lines, so I had to make up supply lines so that my player could mess with them. Because, hey, those books, they're written from somebody that's going, hey, I want to make a good introduction.
Yeah.
I want to make a good adventure. I'm not thinking about all the extra stuff.
See, on the other side of that, and I think this goes back to, and we'll even do it too, even though we're trying not to, is forgetting what it's like to be a dummy.
Yeah, absolutely. And not in an insulting way, but in you just don't know.
Yeah. You don't know. And I think, maybe a little bit, and I think the Essentials kit that came out later.
Yeah, absolutely.
That might be a better bio as a physical thing if you want to put some money into it. It's got some more stuff, and I think it went. You know what? People need to really learn. This is what we missed, and we can give this. This will help them out. I think the Essentials kit will be better on that. Which I think the starter kit leads right into it.
Pretty much.
If you're going that way.
So why didn't we? Now that we bring up the starter kit, why didn't we recommend the starter kit? The big one is you can't get that on D&D Beyond.
Yeah,
it's a physical only thing.
It's nice to have. I just think that
it comes with Fandover, which is good.
Yeah, it comes with that. You got a nice little starting set.
Yeah,
I think you
don't get a PHB.
No, but you get a section of it.
Yeah, you get 5 sheets with pre-made characters and 5 sheets with unmade characters.
Yeah, and dice.
Mm-hmm.
Dice. I think the starter set is actually better for people who have played D&D.
Yeah, absolutely.
And are coming back to 5e.
I agree, 100%.
I think honestly, if you're starting out, jumping on that with your whole budget, or something like that would be. I'd rather say go to D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
Get these sections out of the PHB.
I agree
for the same amount of money. That's just Like the Essentials kit, it's not really an Essential kit.
Right.
It's actually really, here's some extra stuff.
An augment kit.
Yeah. Really better. But it is actually pretty good. Because I have D&D naming stuff.
Yeah. Always.
Get this.
What's a Mystic Odyssey?
I'm not sure. The Odyssey...
As soon as the Mystic Odyssey of Theros was announced, I went,
Okay, so one, from the definition of Odyssey, apparently Theros was the only one that made it back.
Yeah, I guess so.
On that.
Maybe it was not a Mystic Odyssey, but it was an Odyssey on a ship called the Mystic.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
We need to stop this. Yeah. Oh. D&D naming.
I had a couple questions I was going to ask you. Okay. Here we go. We've got up. We're starting playing.
Yeah.
All right. You're sitting down at the table for the first time. You got a bunch of numbers in front of you. Kind of got an understanding of it.
Yeah.
Just as a tip, something you wish you know is somebody went, hey, when you sit down at the table, just a couple of things.
Okay.
For this first player.
First, it's gonna be okay. Calm down.
Yeah.
You don't have to try and act out. You don't have to try and be a big fancy person when it comes to RP. Relax. It's all gonna work out. Second, we're here to have fun. We're not here to win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The idea of either the DM versus the player or the player has to beat the DM, throw those out the window immediately.
Yeah. You're not in competition with the DM.
We're working together to try and tell a fun story.
Yeah.
And the third and the biggest thing to me is get attached to your character, but don't get so attached that you're upset when they die. Because you're going to get upset.
Yeah, okay.
But let them die.
Yeah.
It is important. Character death is such a big thing in D&D. And especially when you're first playing, you're going to make mistakes.
Right.
You're going to lose a character.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun of it, in a way, is, that character's gone.
Yeah.
But now I get to make another character.
Yeah, it's true.
And when you hyper-focus on, I have to keep this character alive, I think you almost detract from what you could be doing.
Yeah.
It's more fun to just let the character be the character.
Yeah.
And if that leads to their death, then so be it.
Yeah. And maybe you can go out cool.
Yeah. It's okay to get attached. Don't take that as like, well, I shouldn't care. Because I love all of my characters. And Ryan has watched me almost die so many times. And that moment when I go, it's when he knows that I have just gone, okay, it's okay if this character dies now. Because again, like you said, sometimes you get to go out like a boss.
Yeah. It adds more to the story.
Yeah.
I think a quick mention for last week, we mentioned, the finding the hero in your character, you're actually not going to be very hard.
Right.
Because characters are OP in this. There's lots of cool stuff you could do. Stirring a little bit of imagination. You're gonna roll a critical at the right time.
Yeah.
It's
going to happen at some point.
And the flaw, it's the balance of it. The flaws on the opposite side of the heroics are what make it great.
And on that same note, if you're the DM, it's okay when your monster dies.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not versus the player.
Right.
I know that you got excited getting to play that owlbear for the first time. I know that you got stoked when it gets 2 attacks, and none of the players have that yet.
Right.
But when that owlbear dies and the players start to celebrate, don't be a sore loser about it. Instead, get excited with the players that, hey, good job, you guys did it. That was tough, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and on the DM side of characters, death,
don't gloat.
Well, it's not just don't gloat.
Yeah.
This has happened to that. The player's upset.
Yeah.
Don't just roll past it.
Right.
Give
it its due.
Give it its due. That way, it's put down. Well, actually, it's not exactly the same thing, but Matt Mercer does it. And I should probably do it more. I like the when you get the final blow.
How do you want to do this?
How do you want to do this? Yeah, this cash line thing. Yeah. You can do the same thing with death.
Absolutely.
You know what?
How do you want to go out?
Yeah, how do you go out? You've got 3 of them on there.
Yeah,
I'll give you a couple rolls as they're stabbing you down.
I think you're right. I think too quickly the DM is like, okay, we need to move on. When it's like, well, that player needs another minute before we just... Right. So I'll ask you the same question then. You sat down at the table. It's your first time playing.
Okay.
What are 3 things that you think everybody should know?
Well, you hit on a couple of good ones. Don't worry about acting.
Yeah.
Through that. I think you said don't worry about making mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Because you're gonna.
And your character's going to die.
Yes. Far more quickly than you expect the first time.
I'll reiterate the you're working with your DM to tell the story.
Yes, absolutely.
Go through that. Don't be afraid to stop the game for a second to ask a question.
Absolutely.
Something up, especially the first time.
Yeah.
Your first few quests are going to be rough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Combat's going to take a long time.
Especially with a new DM.
Yeah, you're going to be hitting the rule books, discussing how it's supposed to work.
That's normal.
That is absolutely normal. Once you start hitting level 3, 4, and 5, things go smoother.
Right.
But I think you hit the 2 of the big ones. Don't worry about trying to act out.
Yeah.
Act it. You can say what happens or
just be natural. It's fine.
Yeah. Nobody's going to shut down at that. And then, don't worry about making mistakes.
I have another one for if you're the DM and it's your first day. Well, I guess, again, don't try to be Matt Mercer because there's no need.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Be confident. You're going to mess up. Just like with the player, you're going to mess up.
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get a rule wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay.
Yeah.
The players are there to have fun, not mostly. There will always be the rules lawyer.
Well, that's what I'm kind of going back to the 4 original races.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, you've got your stats for it and a couple, and everything else through the guideline.
Yeah.
If you want a red-skinned elf with a purple mohawk,
why not?
That's cool.
Go for it.
Yeah, talk to your DM.
Yep.
Your DM may want to say, well, I want a more classic fantasy or something like that. But other than that, there's really no limit on, anything. Yes. Through that. And that's just the first 4 races, right? Take that. And you build up and build up and build up. Don't over extend yourself.
Do not, if you're a new DM, it's your first day at the table, do not allow Unearthed Arcana. I know we brought it up last week.
Yeah.
Do not do it.
Yeah.
You will literally watch your campaign implode.
Yeah, and you can honestly, if you start using Unearthed Arcana right off the bat, you're gonna get the wrong view of games.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it
becomes a video game.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of stuff in there that's meant to say how broken is this.
That is playtest content. It's literally made for groups that have been playing for a long time to be able to critique it and send feedback back to Wizards. Right. It is not for new players to get in and think that is what D&D is like.
They want to dual class, double down in fighters, a brute.
Yep. Yep.
19 to 20 with extra damage die.
Well, we're gonna do a special episode at some point. I mean, they're all special to me, but we're gonna do an episode at some point about being the DM and the types of players you're gonna encounter and how to work with it. And at some point, you're gonna get the metagamer that wants to try and do a bunch of crazy stuff. But again, your first session, even if you have a player like that, it's okay. Right. You will learn as you play how to counter it. And honestly, the big thing for DMs is just keep going. Right. You need experience more than you need anything else.
Yeah, and you'll find rules you like. And you'll find rules you don't like.
I can't stand confirmed crits. I know it's an optional rule. I hate it.
Yeah. Yes. So the optional rule. That maybe there's some stuff you can skim through a DM and got some of the optional rules are interesting. Could really change your game. If you watch Critical Role, their resting system that is heroic, that is short, that is meant for to have comic book characters going.
I got 9 players. I get it.
Yeah, you short rest 15 minutes, long rest an hour.
Everybody's on equal footing.
Standard is 4 and 8.
Spellcaster's technically on a higher footing, but it's fine.
Yeah. The regular 4 and 8, and then what do you call it? Gritty.
Yeah.
It's 1 day for a short rest.
Yeah, a week for a long rest.
Yeah.
And encumbrance is another one of those rules. Yeah. Like, hey, maybe your campaign needs it. I don't like it at all, but maybe your campaign needs it.
Yeah, like I said, unless you're trying to jog with carrying a horse
Yeah.
Or something like that, it can become a distraction.
And if you're doing that, I'm going to stop you anyway.
Right. Like I said, this may be the least simulation-like edition.
Yeah, it's very open.
It's strength and weakness at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's so much you can borrow for. We talk about players. We talk about steal everything. Do the same thing as the DM.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know if we made that clear. If, like I said, if you open Forgotten Realms and you can memorize all the gods, if you got an eidetic memory,
right,
you probably have all the stuff memorized.
Oh yeah,
so you're probably gonna be a boring DM.
Yeah, honestly. Like in my campaigns, in my world, I have a god Tomanek from the War Gods Oath series, written by David Weber.
Right.
He doesn't care.
Oh my!
He said use them if you want. Right. So Tomanek and Krasnark are in all of my campaigns.
Well,
all of them.
So I rip off Tolkien.
Yeah,
quite a bit. Tolkien, McDonald. There's like the game, and a few others. I got books here. I got like nerdy books here. So
every single one of my D&D worlds has an NPC named Whiskey Jack in there somewhere from the Malazan series because I love that character so much.
One of mine now. Yeah, this is not from any particular place, but it's always there. I don't think y'all come to it. I know where it is, and y'all didn't know where near it in the Sunday campaign, but there's always a bar called the Crow's Nest.
Yeah. On
that. It's always seedy. And it's always,
of course.
Right. It's always like, if you're in here, you're probably not living right. It's one of the places. Even in Shadowrun, there was always the Crow's Nest.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's one of those things.
But yeah, like absolutely. If you like Harry Potter, you can take the idea of a Voldemort. You don't have to have it the same way, but you can take that.
Do you dig Greek mythology?
Yeah.
Greek mythology campaign.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, this is probably get a little bit deeper into this is for like D&M creating their own world.
Yeah.
The easiest religion I found to rip off is Zoroastrianism.
Yeah.
Which I probably said wrong, which basically says you got a good and a bad.
Yeah.
And they're equal. And so you don't have to worry about a list of gods. If they're a good cleric, they get their power from this side. Mm-hmm. If not, and that's an easy balance. So you don't have to worry about making out a list,
Yeah, absolutely.
Of god of farming or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Lots of things to rip off. And that's why I was trying to reiterate, steal everything.
Yeah. 100%. I know a DM that he's like gods in his universe are the Toa from Bionicle. Because he's like, hey, I have 6 very distinct personalities, each one tied to an element. Mm-hmm. One of them is more angry than the others. One of them is more serious than the others. Here's my pantheon. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? I respect it. Like, sure, that makes sense.
And here, another point. Just to tell you what you can do with D&D. D&D 5e. So you have the combat rolls.
Yeah.
Okay. We got that. You have human. It's the only class, the only race you have.
Right.
Okay. So you do your stats through that. And you have fighter.
I was about to say, you go fighter. Yeah. So many options still with just one.
Okay.
One class.
So just yes, right. So everyone can play this class, and if you take the subclasses, which there's 3 in the
PHP, 3 in the PHP.
Okay. Well, fighter just those 3.
Yep.
Which we've got a champion, we've got the
Battlemaster,
and the Eldritch Knight.
Yes.
So we have a little bit of magic, a little bit of control.
Yeah.
And then just damage. Going through that. Okay. Now we're saying in the D&D world we just make human fighters.
Right.
Last week you went on and on about Mouse Guard.
Yeah.
Okay. Boom. All you got right. You take it. You go. Okay. Y'all are mice.
Right.
These are the stats, the combat you were using. Mm-hmm. You have Mouse Guard.
Right.
Absolutely. You want to do turtles?
Mm-hmm. Monks.
You got monks there. You go with the monks.
Turtle race, $10 on D&D Beyond. That's the one I was going to bring up earlier. You want to spend your $10, you get turtle right there.
No, it's $1.99 for turtle race, isn't it? It's $10 for the whole book.
Yeah, for the whole book. Yeah, good point.
You get that. You $1.99.
Good point. You get your turtles.
You got. Oh yeah. We had a guy who
adolescent.
We had a guy who won a free for all playing Donatello.
Yep.
A level 20 free for all. It was great.
Well, and like 5e. I know a guy that runs a classic film noir style detective campaign in 5e.
Yeah.
Where everybody are humans or elves.
Right.
And you have the magic world, you have the physical world, And then, like, each of the classes are real strict. It's fighter, rogue, monk for human, and wizard, druid, ranger, I think, for elf.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, you're detectives.
Yeah.
One of you, because it's 2 players, one of you is a human, one of you is an elf. Yeah. You're both partnered because it's like a cultural exchange thing. Try to figure out these mysteries. And that's all they do. They run mysteries every week.
Well, see, I've been doing this. I'm kind of running Trey off the rails here a little bit, just to show like how big. What you could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turtles. You talked about.
We can't do that mouse guard game. No, but like you want to run Cthulhu, but you don't have all the books, but you have D&D, you have the PHP, yeah. You get the Far Realm. Yeah. Far Realm touch stuff is basically Cthulhu touch stuff. It's basically Lovecraft touch stuff. Well,
even, you do have mention of old ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Warlock has the great old one. Yeah.
The old ones.
The great old one, Warlock.
Yeah. And once again, Pinterest.
Yep.
And some other places like that. I mean, people get crazy. There's talented people out there. They will have a monster sheet built up for some wacky thing.
I really want to run. There's a whole conversion kit for FF14 with that world. Over to 5e. Yeah, that's cool. And I really want to run something with that. And then there's a Godzilla conversion kit. That is the players play as kaiju for 5e.
I'm going to do it. I want to run the original Final Fantasy. Because I got the map.
Yeah.
I got all the characters.
I have all the music memorized in my head.
I can't tell you that game had on me. When you got there, I'm telling you, man. Like give me goosebumps and stuff.
I literally have every song from that game memorized, Ryan.
The original Final Fantasy.
You know how many times I've played original Final Fantasy?
I played it when it first came out. I haven't played it on the what was that little handheld?
The PSP.
PSP, yeah.
Yeah, I played that version. That version was good. Dawn of a New World is what they called that combo pack.
Everything after the original Nintendo one, it was nerfed. Don't tell me it wasn't.
Oh yeah, no, it was made easier.
Because yeah.
Even though they added some bosses and some of them, this is not what this podcast is about, but I love it. But you could. You could run Final Fantasy.
You can.
4 classes, a party of 4.
Yeah, exactly.
You go. You got Garland there. You have your 4 elemental evils.
Yes.
You can run it.
Everybody shows up. You have a stone.
You start in Corneria.
Yeah. Like I said, you got the map and everything. And that would, I would love to run that. I would love to play that. Yeah. Oh my god!
And you even have your class up for like, hey, you hit level 10. You have a bunch of new abilities now.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would fit. It would paste, copy and paste over so well. I think you had when you run into doing when you start running the firearms, or energy weapons, and stuff like that. You do have a breakdown.
Yeah.
D&D does not handle that well.
Right. Guns in 5e are rough.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do a gunslinger fighter.
And there is the class gunslinger, which you can look up. But there's rules for energy weapons. It's something a little bit different in the back of the DM's guide. Now, I know again and again we've said you don't have to get the DM's guide and buy that. It's just a guide. That's all it is.
But it's got some handy information.
It does. It really does. And you'll find if you get deeper and deeper in this, you're going to get people telling you to go look at stuff. Yeah. I've heard it many times. I believe it is the Monster Manual Intro to 4th edition that has been recommended quite a few times. Yeah. To me, and then there's a few things out of each. There's something some out of each edition that kind of they explained it better in this edition. Yeah. And a lot of times it's just opinion stuff. It's how the idea of role playing in general.
Yeah, absolutely. There was one last thing I wanted to mention about stealing stuff. You should steal stuff from D&D as well. Waterdeep as a city. Yeah. The whole thing is online. The whole thing's on D&D Beyond. Yeah. You can just pull up Waterdeep. You get maps. You get the structures of Waterdeep. Sure. You just throw Waterdeep in your campaign. Sigil, the City of Doors. Yeah. You just take it. Yeah. Throw it in your campaign.
And you can run real world things too. If you love, the Middle Age history, Renaissance history, or, the Roman time period, or, ancient Zimbabwe, massive kingdom,
Aztec cultures.
Aztec, cultures, all of that is open and being able to use.
Yeah.
Kind of a free roll. I want to have a gripe about 5e on this, and this is material they put out. They got some amazing stuff for players.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really think they've cut DMs short.
Yeah, I agree
on things, and it really bugs me because there's some amazing worlds
that haven't been touched.
And we
got Eberron.
We got Carter. When's the last time Carter's been mentioned?
Well, and they tried. I want to give them credit in that they tried with Eberron and then Wild Mount, which is the Critical Role setting.
Yeah.
They added 2 settings there, but that's it.
Yeah, but that's not D&D
right.
setting.
I agree. And for me, I don't think it would bother me so much if I didn't know we had settings.
Yeah.
I have my 3/5 Dark Sun setting. I have that book still.
Right.
I want a 5e Dark Sun.
Yeah.
Dark Sun's such a cool setup.
I'm afraid they're not going to touch Dark Sun in this edition.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I really do.
And like you said, I want my Dragonlance.
Yeah.
I want my, what was the second and third edition book that's like, this is the Lord of the Rings, but it's not because we don't have the rights to it. It's like the 7th Age or something like that.
I don't remember. That was a little splash thing.
Yeah, but it was a cool setting that you could run campaigns in. Well, the Legend of the Five Rings.
Yes.
Where's that setting?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're talking about the stealing stuff.
Yeah.
And Don John and other things that people put out.
Yeah.
There's people that have worked hard and put out whole manuals for other worlds that you see.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You mentioned Lord of the Rings. And I got to think of it. Adventures in Middle-earth.
Yep. Absolutely.
They revamped the magic system to fit Lord of the Rings. They've done all the work for it.
That FF14 conversion did the same thing with magic, where every one of those classes plays differently and everything.
Yeah. Magic should be in the DM guide with the player's handbook.
I agree.
Starting spells should be in the player handbook.
You know what? I just realized a campaign that I want to run really badly. Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Where everybody immediately, you're so much better. Fights become Dynasty Warriors. Until you get to the other general, and then it becomes an actual fight.
Oh, I love that story.
Oh, that'd be so cool to run. Lubu's a level 20 fighter right off the bat. Don't pursue him.
Yeah,
you don't want to go after Lubu.
No, okay, so you got Lubu.
Yeah,
he's gonna be. I put him over level 20.
That's fair.
I would say 23.
He could be level 25 or level 23, level 20 fighter, level 3 rogue.
Yeah,
for backstab.
You got that. Okay, no joke. Guan Yu, he'd definitely be a level 25.
Oh, yeah.
Dion Wei, Barbarian.
Yep.
Level 18.
Yep. Zhuge Liang has to be a wizard. He has to be. The winds obey him.
You pronounce much better than I do. Zhoung. Zhong.
Zhoung. Zhongli?
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, there's so many good. Yeah. I don't want to play that one.
Yeah.
You're running it.
Hey, I'll run it. I don't mind one bit.
Yeah, you know that Israel.
Players get to choose which faction they want to side with. Do you want to go with Cao Cao's Wei? Do you want to go with Liu Bei's Shu? Or do you want to go with Sun Tzu's Wu? Or do you want to fight with the Yellow Turbans and lose?
Yeah, right. That did not end well.
No.
Don't pick yellow as your color.
Yeah. Journey of the West would be a really cool one too. Again, I'm going to put it this way. If you're a nerd, if you like anime, you like manga, you like movies, you like TV shows, anything, you can make a Breaking Bad campaign. Yeah. You can make a Walking Dead campaign.
Absolutely.
You can make One Piece, Naruto. You go down the list, right? Yeah. You take any anime. You can make that in 5e.
Yeah.
5e has the options for that.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. And remember, we get excited because we talk about worlds and characters and stuff. You may have a picture in your head of what your character looking really cool, doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Give it a few levels because it's hard to do at first level.
Yeah, absolutely.
You stumble first. The best characters stumble first.
There's a great channel on YouTube it's built. All this guy does is like, you want to play this character in D&D. You want to play Samus in D&D?
Yes.
And it's you watch that, and you will very quickly learn it's going to be a while before I get to do these things.
I believe he goes, okay, look, this is a 20th level character.
Yeah. To be able to get to what you want to do.
He's got Ash from Pokemon.
Yep.
Got,
Doom Slayer's on there from Doom.
Yeah. I remember that. Captain America and a few others.
It's like, hey, yeah, you can be Cap, and you can get the basic like thrown weapon pretty early on.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get to Cap levels until like 17.
MCU making Cap cool again.
Yep. They did it.
Do that.
No, I don't think I will. Yeah. D&D is like an open book, literally.
It is. And there's lots and lots of D&D books out there. R.A. Salvatore has written.
Oh, yeah. You want some Dritz to order?
Not Dritz, the Cleric Quartet. I mean,
Dritz is just the first thing I think of.
Of course it is. I mean, that's kind of, well, I think it's a little bit different because somebody's like, he's a dark elf.
Yeah.
And he's come up.
Have I told you the story of the player that I played with for like 3 years in a different, like in my DM's campaign, that just made Dritz every campaign?
I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
I feel like it has me like imbalanced or biased against Dritz.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that guy played him every time.
No. I'm not. Yeah, Dritz is definitely, but there's a lot of others.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Do you like Game of Thrones? That's just 100%.
I know so many people that ran Game of Thrones campaigns while that show was on TV.
Try to do that, no problem. Oh man,
yeah,
pretty good stuff. There's a lot of information out there.
I think new players definitely. This is a resource. I think there are a lot of resources they should use, but this is one maybe to help them focus what they're looking for.
Well, I think please listen to this channel. We really appreciate it. Please comment.
Yeah. I read them. Trust me. And
I will comment. I will get back to you. I promise. But there is one is the age of information.
Yeah.
Now it's not. Now, at this point in history, it's not so much about getting the information, it's about sifting through it.
Yeah, finding what you need instead of the chaff.
Yeah, so pick up some stuff from us. Go watch other channel, pick up stuff from them.
We should probably close out soon, but do you have, like, just real quick, 3 channels you recommend from YouTube? I want to have a whole discussion on it at some point, but just 3 channels.
I hate this, because I'll leave so many people out.
That's why I put a number on it, so we can stop.
Right? Good idea. Let's think. Dungeon Dudes is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Great discussion.
They usually have a good discussion. You usually get 2 points of view on it. And both those guys look at stuff differently enough. Yeah. That you get a lot more. You can get information.
I agree.
And great rundowns. Nerdarchy. Yeah. You're going to get some classic. They might be above your head starting. Yeah. Okay.
But good discussions.
They're great discussions. Very entertaining guy. And let's see. Was it Taking 20?
Taking 20, yeah.
Taking 20. That guy, when you find out he's going to say something that makes you go, I do not, and that's not the way it goes. Yeah. But he has a lot of information.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do believe, especially when it comes to products and things he uses, I don't think, I believe he's going to, if he doesn't like it, he's going to say, I don't like this about this part. Right. And this is a good part. You're going to balance it.
He's got probably the best breakdown of how to use Roll20 that I've seen on YouTube. His guide is the one I followed to start using Roll20.
Yeah, so definitely. I think, like I said, there's so many others, but I'll leave it at those 3.
I have 3 prepared as well.
Okay.
My 3 are, as soon as I said I had 3, they just left me. My 3 are Joe Cat for the crap guide to classes. Yeah. Because he makes fun little short videos on here's some stuff the class can do. Go for it. Yeah. I'm going to recommend for DMs that you check out Matthew Colville.
Oh,
Matthew Colville makes some really good breakdowns of why he does things these ways, but also, hey, I do it this way, but maybe you want to try it this way. Yeah. Which I think is really useful for DMs or for players, honestly.
Yeah, and he's got I'm going to go into it right now. He's got a little bit of pedigree, too.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, good call on that one.
And then the third one is a comedy channel, but they do some really good stuff, and that's XP to Level 3.
Yeah.
I think the big takeaways from that channel, I mean, obviously the comedy stuff is funny, but the big takeaways are their class guides are pretty good because they go down, hey, here's every level. Here's what you get per level. That also, I think, does a really good job of showcasing the classes are not equal. Yeah. And then the other big thing that they'll do is they'll go, hey, here's some of my big mistakes that I made as a DM.
Yeah.
Which I think is very informative.
I want to throw one more on the list before we close out. I don't remember the man's name. His channel is How to Be a Great DM.
Yes.
He is, he's from the Isles, from the English Isles.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, you're thinking you're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
And he's a little bit dry, very dry sense of humor. But honestly, I bet he is a blast as a DM.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet he is. So I'll throw him out there just on the DM side. I think everybody else we talked about, even Matt Goodwell, really good for players and everything. And I think he's got some player content too. But
absolutely.
Know is how to be a great DM.
I guess we should give the basic de facto as well. Hey, Critical Role. If you want to watch play, you got Math Colville with Chains of Avernus. Is that yes?
Yeah. I've been trying to think of that one. Yeah. Every time we talk, past few times we talk about it, I'm like, there's one more. I can see the guy's face. You'll find once you start the algorithm will give you.
Oh yeah, XP to level 3. I think they're running Ravnica right now.
Okay. And
then of course Critical Role, 2 full campaigns. If you want to just dive into it, you got it. You know. But again, don't take the way any of those people play. Even like Matt Colville, the way he DMs, you don't have to do it that way.
No. And what the takeaway from that, one, is entertaining.
Yes. They tell great stories.
Great stories. 2, if you're just letting it play in the background, turn around and pay attention when it comes time to start rolling the dice.
Yep. I don't think as a DM, if I had to start over today without any of my experience, I would not, with the stuff that I have available, I would not sit down for session 1 without having watched at least a full fight from somebody else.
Yeah. And we may do that one time. And we've hit on D&D, and like I said, maybe next week we're going to hit this a little bit more. I want to go back it up and say, okay, we'll give you all the resources that you can think of, and there's something in there that can get your hands on this some way or another. Just exactly what it is, and I'll grab a couple of I'll tell you what. Next time I'll grab 2 6-sided dice. Everybody's listening with this. We will play the world's shortest role playing game.
Sounds great.
And you can either win or lose. We'll have a little scene. Just kind of get an idea for it. Won't be D&D rules. It'll keep it a little more simple.
Yeah,
just to show how it goes. Man, I think about that. That should about cover it.
Yeah, that was a really good discussion. Again, let us know in the comments if you have specific questions. If you have some other things that you think might be better spent that money for the $50 player, let us know.
Don't feel free to tear us apart, especially if it's good advice.
Yeah.
Anything you plug? Anything if they want to? Any other ways they want to get in contact with us? Or
again, they can hit up the channel on Twitter. At TH3 the full spectrum, or at TH3 full spectrum,
right?
Or they can comment here on the video, or they can hit me up on my individual Twitter at @RaptorNXT, or we have an email they could use, which is the full spectrum podcast at gmail.com.
So 2008. What are you doing?
If they want to send in an email, but just let us know if you have any kind of questions, comments, anything like that.
Final letter.
Here's the address. But with all that said, I've been Trey.
I've been Ryan.
And we've been the Full Spectrum D&D Podcast. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that D&D has to offer.